So I'm putting this video out a little later than normal. I apologize. Just got home. I was taking care of some business in Riverside, California today. And as we were returning back home to the desert here, we decided to drive through an area where there is a tent city. Now, I was in this area a few months back and did a short video on it. We returned to it today on our way home and revisit it. And shockingly, it was much worse than it was a few months ago. And what I mean by that is it was more populated than it was a few months ago. More people, more tents, more cardboard boxes. And it's just really a sign of the times. I wish I could have talked to some of the people today, but when they saw the camera as we were driving through, I started seeing some hostility, and we decided to just continue on. Now, I carry a G17 everywhere I go, but I don't ever want to put myself in a situation where I see things escalating. So we just moved on. But I wanted to shoot this video for all of you so that you could see what's happening here to beautiful Southern California. And I'm gonna show you that clip. Please watch it. It's just an eye-opener of what's happening here in the state of California. And I know it's happening to so many other states. Many of you who write into me share in the comments the amount of homeless you're seeing in your cities, in your states. And California probably being the worst state of them all when it comes to the homeless epidemic. But it makes you think a little bit about how blessed we are and how much we have compared to so many people. And it also makes you think about preparation, how important it is. You know, not everybody is a drug addict. Not everybody has a mental deficiency. There are people out there that are normal, who had jobs, who ran into bad luck, ran into a bad marriage, ran into massive medical bills, whatever the case may be. People run into obstacles, bad luck, dead ends, and they've got nowhere to go. If you don't have friends and family to help you, so many people can be out there, whether they believe that or not. And as I said in the video today, when you watch the clip, you know, so many people are one paycheck away from being at that dead end. And so we can never judge anybody, but we can certainly thank God for our blessings. But I digress. It makes us think about preparation and how we have to avoid these situations. You don't want to land up in a tent. You don't want to land up in a cardboard box. You don't want to land up in a dead end. Here is a news flash for everybody. There are going to be many, many more people joining these people. Many, many more people joining tent cities. You know, this isn't just happening in Southern California. It's happening all over my entire state. And more than likely, if you're watching this video, it's happening in your state. This is a full-blown epidemic. We are seeing parts of America now turning into third world countries. No doubt about it. It's just a fact. So the moral of the story is this: you don't want to land up there. So you want to keep preparing mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Bad times are coming to America, no doubt about that. And the worse the times get, the busier and more populated the tent cities are going to get. You are going to know people, maybe your neighbors, maybe people in your church, that are going to land up in places like this because there is going to be no other choice. When pensions collapse, when economies collapse, when currencies collapse, when society begins to collapse, tent cities and the homeless grow. And so I see, from everything that I'm reading, studying the trends, looking at the environments, talking to people, reading the comments, this is just the beginning. We are going to see, and you're going to see, more tent cities. You're going to see more homeless people. You're going to know people who become homeless. And I think the only way that any of us can avoid that is preparation. Prepare now. If you're working right now, if you have some income, instead of blowing it at Starbucks or on a Vegas vacation or on a brand new car or on a big screen TV or on some football tickets, start taking that monopoly money and putting aside an emergency fund and putting aside hard tangible assets like gold and silver. I got a delivery today from SD Bullion of some new coins. I'm going to also put these coins on this video, so I'll let you check these out. These coins are pretty cool. They have the President of the United States on these coins with the number 2020. And on the back, you have the American Eagle. And I'll show these a little bit closer with marked 45th president. So you have the United States of America with the American Eagle. Below that, it says 45th president. I'm going to do some close-ups on this video of a couple of these coins. Very, very cool. If you like them, you can go to my link, SD Bullion, get yourself some 1 ounce of, I think they're 999. I believe they're 999s. So they weren't very much over spot. Very cool, historical, pretty cool coin. But as I said in my past video, my next purchase, I may do a few more of these, but it will definitely be another ounce of gold. And look, that means I'm not going on a trip to Vegas. That means I'm not buying some toy. I'm not buying a big screen TV. I'm buying hard tangible assets like gold and silver. While these two, the two most undervalued assets on planet Earth, are on sale, it really makes you think when you're driving through a tent city. If you ever spoken to any of these people, you really think about how close you are as an individual, that if you had a little bit of bad luck, if you lost your job, could you avoid being in this situation, or how long could you avoid before you landed up in this situation? So, when you get out of your bubble and you visit these type of areas, it makes you think. It makes you critically think, first of how blessed you are, and secondly, what can I do to avoid ever landing up here? Make yourself an asset. Make yourself, your individual self, an asset. Know how to do something, have a skill, have something to fall back on. And again, make sacrifices and acquire cash and assets, and be awake to what is happening. Too many people want to avoid reality. They want to avoid, they will never drive through one of these areas. They avoid it like the plague. They never want to see it because out of sight, out of mind. I believe that's a mistake. You should be viewing this stuff for yourself, witnessing it for yourself, because it's going to teach you a life lesson, and it's going to show you reality that if you do not prepare, you land up in a place like a tent city. And I'm telling you, many of you are going to have friends. You may even have family members who are going to land up in places like this because they did not prepare with food, with water. They weren't walking close to God. They didn't prepare financially. They didn't prepare mentally, getting in a mental mindset for what is coming. And if you are not preparing right now, if you are not laying down a foundation for the events coming to this country that you're going to see socially, politically, and economically and spiritually, many of you could land up in a place like a tent city. But while we're spending billions and billions and billions of dollars on people who shouldn't even be here, making sure that they're getting 3 square meals a day, making sure they're getting counseling, making sure they're getting health care and education, we have Americans, including vets, who are sleeping on sidewalks tonight, sleeping in tents and sleeping in cardboard boxes. That's the reality that we live in today. And at the end of the day, it's quite obvious that nobody is going to take care of you but you. Do not be dependent on this government. Don't be dependent on financial institutions. Many of you cannot even be dependent on your own family members or your own churches. So remember, you must be responsible for you. And remember, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. So make sure that you have access to real money. Make sure that you have access to hard tangible assets. Make sure that you are becoming your own asset with a skill. Look, there you are there. More homeless people sitting up on this dirt lawn here, a couple tents back there. I don't know if you can see it. It's just really crazy. So guys, we're on our way back to the desert, and on the way back we stopped off here in the city of Riverside, and there is a homeless epidemic taking place. What you just saw was a couple blocks right here in the city of Riverside, hundreds and hundreds of homeless people sleeping on the sidewalk, sleeping in tents, sleeping in cardboard boxes. You know, we talk about areas like Skid Row in LA. Skid Row is now expanding outside of LA. It is now in Riverside, San Bernardino, Orange County, San Diego, the Bay Area up in San Francisco. This homeless epidemic is absolutely getting out of control here. Parts of California don't even look like we're in America any longer. Parts of California now look like third world countries. Take a look at what I just showed you, what's behind me. This is an epidemic that is surging across the country, but California, probably the worst state of them all when it comes to homeless and the epidemic we're seeing here. It's so sad to see people with mental disabilities, people with drug addictions, and people that have just had bad luck sitting out here in cardboard boxes, sleeping in tents, very unsafe, very unsanitary. And we were here a few months ago, and coming back here today, there must be 3 or 4 times as many people now here than there were about 3 months ago. This problem is getting worse. Nobody's doing anything about it. And again, this once beautiful state of California now, many parts of it looking like a third world country. It's so disturbing to see how people are living And this is just one part. There's many other parts here in Riverside where it's even worse than this, and it's growing. And again, so many counties throughout California where it's way worse than this. It's a growing problem, a growing epidemic that nobody seems to have a fix for. Nobody cares because we're spending money on so much special interest, and these politicians are bankrupting these states, stealing from the taxpayer, and giving money to people who are invading this state and this country. People who aren't even from this country are getting better treatment than these people. Yes, there are people here with drug addictions, but yet there are many people here with mental disabilities and people who are good people who just had some bad luck. And we should not judge these people because remember, 80% of America is living paycheck to paycheck. Just think, if you lost your job and you missed 1 or 2 paychecks, if you don't have family or friends, so many people in America would be in the same place. So many people are 1 or 2 or 3 paychecks away from being homeless if they don't have friends, if they don't have family. So we should never judge these people. But I believe we should be taking care of these people, helping these people in some way before we're helping people from other countries. This is not good for the state. It's not good for mankind. It's not good for anybody. But again, I just wanted to show this to you as we were just driving home and we passed by this. This problem is not getting better, it's getting worse. It is at least 4 times worse than when we first came here a few months ago. Really sad to see that when it rains out, when it gets cold, this is all people have is a little tent or a box. I'm gonna leave you with this. If you're watching this video, you're more than likely watching it on your multi-$1,000 computer or your $1,200 iPhone. You are blessed. Get on your hands and knees to God tonight. Thank God you had a meal. Thank God you have a roof over your head. Maybe you have a tiny little apartment. Maybe you have a little cheap car. But I'll tell you what, you probably ate today and you're probably not sleeping in a tent on a sidewalk. So you may have a little tiny apartment and a little car and you may not have a whole lot. But let me tell you, you have a whole lot more than these people, and you should get on your hands and knees and thank God tonight that you have 2 arms, 2 legs, you had a meal today, you have a roof over your head, because you are much better off, much wealthier, much richer than anybody out here sleeping in a tent. So thank God you have something. You have so much more than these people and so much more to be grateful for. So we should never get in the mindset that we don't have enough, or we don't have the big house, or we're not driving a big Mercedes, or we're not going on a big vacation to Hawaii. You know what? Thank God for what you do have, because He's blessed you. You're way better off than so many people. And we should all be reminded that there are so many people that have it so much worse off than we do. Thank God every day for what He's blessed you with.